Hey guys, hope you're having a great day and welcome to another video. Today I will be sharing my initial thoughts with you all about the recently released Twisted Metal TV show streaming on Peacock. I would really like to share some clips from the show to feature in this video, but due to legal reasons I'll instead just have some Twisted Metal Black footage running in the background for this one. I'll also be starting off the video completely spoiler free, but then move into a different segment which will contain spoilers. So if you haven't seen the show, I totally recommend you watch it for yourself before viewing that segment, but it's really up to you. With that out of the way, let's get started. So, I think the first thing I would like to talk about is the actual plot of the show itself. I'm not gonna lie, I was a bit worried when I learned the show won't be focusing on any form of Twisted Metal tournament, and instead following the journey of John Doe, a milkman, or basically post-apocalyptic delivery boy, delivering a mysterious package. And while this idea is completely original to the Twisted Metal series, I felt that it was a natural fit for the series. I really enjoyed the plot of the show and seeing all the crazy situations that the characters find themselves in. Another aspect of the show that also worried me in the trailers leading up to the release was the comedy, or the humor. I was unsure how to feel about the comedic scenes that were teased, but upon seeing the full show now, I can say that it is indeed very funny most of the time and what you would expect from the writers of Deadpool. I feel like a few of the jokes didn't quite land for me or have long enough presence before it was on to the next one-liner. However, these moments were rare and there are some genuinely hilarious moments in the show that really caught me off guard. I don't think the humor would have been as satisfying if not for the incredible cast of the show. You've got Anthony Mackie as the lead character John Doe, who has fantastic comedic timing as well as moments that can really pull on your heartstrings. Samoa Joe does the physical acting for Sweet Tooth, with Will Arnett doing the voiceover. Sweet Tooth is really well executed in my opinion, just being a complete lunatic. They also gave Sweet Tooth some interesting backstory elements that I actually love. Stephanie Beatrice plays the role of Quiet and really has an amazing performance. Truly, the entire cast of the show did a stellar job. The top quality acting throughout the show really enhances the strengths of the show, while also compensating for some weaknesses in other areas, like the writing. But that's not to say the writing was bad. Like I've mentioned before, I thought the show was genuinely funny throughout its runtime, and there were only a few moments where I felt the joke didn't quite land. Outside of humor, I feel the show does a great job of letting you get an insight on the characters and feel sympathy for their hardships. The more serious scenes where characters are arguing and spilling out past traumas are done in a way that really has you caring and sympathizing with them. For Twisted Metal fans, I would say this show is a must-watch. It's packed with a plethora of references to former games that will have even the most jaded of fans cracking a smile. For non-Twisted Metal fans, I would still recommend the show, as I think it can confidently stand on its own and have people outside of the Twisted Metal community appreciating it. There will be a lot of references that non-fans of the series will miss, but the show isn't reliant on these references or any former knowledge of the series to be entertaining. While I don't think the show is perfect by any means, it really stands on its own as, in my opinion, a super fun show that you should check out if you haven't already. Now we are going to be entering spoiler territory, so again, if you haven't watched the show already, I would highly suggest checking it out first, then coming back here afterwards. Okay, this has been your spoiler warning, so let's get on with the video. Next, I'll be talking about some of the scenes I really liked, some theories I have, and of course, the ending of Season 1. First off, I absolutely loved all of the references sprinkled into the show. Many contestants from the Twisted Metal games show up in the show, including, but not limited to, Raven, Twister, Preacher, Pizza Boy, Drag Queen, and Slam. The scene of Slam's performance where he crushed a watermelon was nothing short of absolute absurdity. Seeing the long box for the original Twisted Metal game make an appearance in the first episode was also a really nice touch. I loved the inclusion of Zorko Bros, Scrap and Salvage as a location in the show. It's really a treat for die-hard Twisted Metal fans to try and spot each reference throughout the episodes. As far as scenes that stood out to me, one of the most memorable had to be the flashback sequence showing Sweet Tooth's psychotic breaking moment as a young child actor. The scene plays out with a young Marcus Kane backstage getting ready for his performance in front of a live TV audience. He is a member of a duo named Billy and the Two Scoops and is shown to be frustrated with the fact that Billy seems to be getting more attention than he is. His stepfather insists that it's because Billy is twice as funny. This creates tension between the two, which leads to some dialogue from the stepfather referencing Charlie Kane, Marcus's father who drives a taxi cab, a clear reference to the games. Marcus then heads out for his performance where his initial joke referencing his sweet tooth falls completely flat. We then segue into Billy, who is now shown to be a golden retriever who comes walking out of the bathroom to roaring applause and laughter. Seeing this causes Marcus to absolutely snap, and he proceeds to take the grandma's pair of sewing needles and brutally murder poor Billy, to the shock and horror of everyone in the vicinity. This scene was just fantastic, not only for being shocking, but for giving Sweet Tooth a true backstory that explains why he's the way he is. It also blew my mind upon realizing that this act is why he now goes by the name Needles instead of Marcus, seeing as the media blew up the story and gave him the nickname Needles due to the act he committed. I also thoroughly enjoyed the Baba Booey line drop from Agent Stone. It totally caught me off guard. One aspect of the show that I was a bit unclear about were the violent lightning storms that were occurring. I've only watched through the show once, so it's totally possible I missed the explanation for why these occur, but they just seem to come out of nowhere. If it is the case that these aren't explained in the show, then it's my theory that these storms could be caused by Calypso. If that is the case, then that would mean that Calypso has to have some sort of supernatural power. He may summon these storms to disrupt the world outside of the cities, making people reliant on the cities that he ultimately controls for safety. Again, this is just my own theory, and it may not be true at all, but it would be really cool. Now I've got to talk about the ending. First off, even though Sweet Tooth was shot in the head and absolutely decked by a speeding car, I'm still leaning towards the belief that he somehow survived this, even though his mask was shown lying on the ground. The fact that Mike and Stu never went back to make sure he was dead seemed to be an intentional way to signal to the audience that he'll be coming back if there's a season 2 in the future. Speaking of, I really hope that there is a season 2, because the way that they set it up got me so unbelievably hyped. First off, it's shown that the package John and Quiet risked their lives to deliver was just a small container of ice cream that didn't even end up being as great as Raven hoped. Raven doesn't allow Quiet to come into the city with John, as it would cause complications. After John lives within the city for a while alone, he learns that what he truly wants is to be with Quiet and tries to leave the city. Raven tries to convince John to stay, but John still refuses and wants to leave. This leads Raven to explain to John that he cannot leave and is in fact going to be a driver for an upcoming tournament hosting the best drivers in the lands. Seeing this had me so excited, as the premise of Season 2 seems that it would follow this Twisted Metal tournament, with different cities having drivers represent them. This also gave me hope in the supposed new game in the works, because I think this setting could make for an excellent game. I honestly just had a great time watching this show. In fact, I couldn't stop watching. I began the series as soon as it launched at 3 AM and found myself awake until the very end with my eyes still glued to the screen by sunrise. I'm sure I will be watching Season 1 again soon, and might make some more videos on the show, taking a deeper look into things, or taking a look at different theories if you guys would want to see something like that. I would really like to read all of your thoughts and opinions on the show down in the comments section below. I think that'll be it for this video, so thank you all for watching as always, and I'll see you next time.